Hey guys, it's Derek.
This is Brad.
We're with Powell Paranormal Watertown. We're here today just to give you a little bit of a rundown of our upcoming investigation at the Wayne County Museum. I believe it's the
Yeah,
official
Wayne
title.
County Jail Museum, something like that.
Um,
Now, normally before an investigation, we do quite a bit of research, but this one was kind of last minute because we're supposed to go to Wildwood, and they called us and had to cancel. So we've got, 4 days notice on this one?
yeah, about I think
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So we did as much research as we could, but this one was really, I don't want to say really difficult, but hard to find facts because they run their Halloween stuff, and 90% of what you find on the internet is all about their haunted Halloween jail.
Yeah, a lot of initial Google search is just like Brad said, just their haunted house that they run. So what we had to do was dig deeper into like local articles of the Finger Lakes Times and stuff like that, because this location's about 2 hours away from us. We're based up in Watertown, so it's in Western New York, Finger Lake region.
Yep.
So Brad's got some information that what we try to do is get a little bit of information, so that way we know going into it some of the maybe the names, some of the folklore myths, so that way during our investigation we can either confirm it or say, hey, we got something totally different.
Yeah.
Because with a lot of these haunted locations, there's a lot of legend that are not stipulated to any sort of factual documentation or death certificates or something.
Yeah.
So that's
Big-
part of our
Big examples that was when we went to the Conjuring house, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bathsheba the witch," and find out that that wasn't even true. That was all folklore started by what's her name? Can't remember what her name was.
Yeah, but having said that, check out the Conjuring videos, because although we couldn't confirm, some of the legends and some of the folklore, that house is definitely 100% still haunted. I think anyone that goes there will.
Yeah, we
explain
caught
it.
some really good stuff on that.
So go ahead and check that out in our video. So we'll get into some of the information we did find on this Wayne County Museum.
Yeah, I found a bit. The jail itself was built in 1856 and was a functional jail and sheriff's office until 1960, at which point it got shut down and they started the turnover into a museum. Let's see. Now, there have been a few deaths reported in the building, 2 of which were inmates, 3 of which were actually family members of former sheriffs.
Yeah, because the building itself, after it was a jail, not only was it the jail, but the sheriff actually lived there.
Yeah, the sheriff actually lived there, and it originally was just a men's jail, and any women in the area that were held there were actually held in the bedrooms of the sheriff's, the house part.
Oh, okay.
And like the sheriff's wife would prepare the meals for the prisoners and everything. And then about halfway through its life as a jail, they built a second story of cells, and that's where the women were kept. Women were kept on the top floor, men were kept on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So we have Sheriff Jerry Collins. He worked at the jail off and on as a sheriff and a deputy for 50 years.
Oh, wow.
1883 to 1934. He had 3 infant children that all died. All died in the house.
Now, were you able to get a cause of death?
I couldn't get a cause of death, and I couldn't get names.
Okay.
Everything I found was just said infant children, infant children.
Okay, so it could be like infant at birth?
Yeah, it could have been stillborn, sickness, could be anything.
Yeah.
And also there was Sheriff Newman. I couldn't find his first name, but his mother-in-law died in the house. Okay, and I couldn't find cause of death on that. But that was from the 1920s and 30s. So that was a little more recent than the children.
Okay. And then there was a story about an inmate there, correct, that died at the jail?
Yeah, so there's one that was executed at the jail, and then there was one that he committed suicide in the jail.
Okay.
So,
by my understanding, the one who was executed, I'm not sure what crime he did. It had to be a capital crime, obviously. Like murder.
I found that, yeah.
Okay.
So that was William Fee.
Okay.
He was arrested for murder. So he was charged with murder. but he was arrested for murder and rape of
So violent criminal.
They never got the woman's name. Every article I found just called her Jane Doe, even from articles from back then. The evidence that they convicted him on was that someone said that he was drunk and was in a bar bragging that he forced himself on this woman and then killed her, but he only got sentenced with the murder charge.
Gotcha. And this was in Wayne County. That's why it's called the Wayne County Museum, obviously. Yeah. And this was the only execution that has ever taken place in Wayne County.
Yeah.
That's according to, I think, the director that I spoke to.
Yep. So. William Fee claimed his innocence all the way up until the moment he was hanged. He kept saying he was innocent, and a lot of people at the time thought that his conviction was circumstantial. There's a story I read about a priest, I can't remember his name, who would go almost every day to talk to William.
He never confessed, never said.
No, he kept telling this priest that he was innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. So...
And that's kind of strange, too, because a lot of stories you hear on men on their deathbeds, if they fear or if they get spiritual or if they feel like, they're on a cusp of going to heaven or hell, they might, release the burden of their sins and confess to a crime. And in this case, he did not at all.
No, he didn't at all. So when it was time for his execution, they built the gallows out front of City Hall. And then they had a parade, 2,000 people in a parade, paraded the gallows all the way to the jail. They put it in the north cell block and hung him.
So they made a whole spectacle.
Yeah. They actually the county gave out 200 tickets to personally come into the jail and watch the hanging.
Wow. But
2,000 people showed up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so what else do we have on this location?
Well, the gallows actually, they found this interesting. After he was hung and declared dead, they dismantled the gallows and turned all the wood into chairs.
Okay.
One of those chairs is still in the building.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't find what happened to any of the other ones, but there's at least one chair still in the building.
So it's very possible with all the energy that a jail produces, or the energy that was generated from that, parading and 2,000 people going through to witness it, we could be dealing with a residual haunting. Mm-hmm. We could be dealing with an active haunting if his spirit for some reason got trapped.
Yeah.
Or we could be dealing with something altogether that has nothing to do with this prisoner, because the artifacts in the museum are connected to crimes as well.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of the artifacts are. Going back to the prisoner that died, and then I've got another story after this one that goes along with the artifacts. Robert Redder was arrested on July 7th, 1903. Him and his wife had a domestic dispute, and the dispute spilled out onto the sidewalk, and he shot her. He didn't kill her, but he shot her. It went through her hand and shoulder, so my assumption is probably something like this. Yeah. His wife, Ida, made a full recovery, but he was sent to the Wayne County Jail to await arraignment and be sentenced. He was found guilty and convicted to 7 years in Auburn prison, and he wasn't having any of that. So he ended up committing suicide. The way he did it is he had a sore on his leg. They called it a running sore. And he used to clean it with weak carbolic acid solution. And the jailers gave it to him so that he could clean his wound. Yep. Well, when they walked away, he drank it, died. Next morning they came to check on him, he was dead.
Yeah, because I think it's important to remember the location that we're investigating. It's a relatively small area. It's like holding cells for arraignment or to get transferred to a prison. Yeah. So it's not like a sprawling prison, but this is like a tight quarter where the prisoners were probably very interactive with one another. Yeah, very. Like, the pictures I saw, the cells were they were relatively narrow and just literally right on top of each other. Kind of like the old school prison cells that you've seen in movies and stuff. Yeah. They're just a line of cells. It's not like the modern day cell blocks and pods and stuff like that. Okay. So there's another woman
I'm sorry, there was a woman named Rose Alaco. Don't know how to pronounce it. She was an Italian immigrant that came to Wayne County in the early 1900s. She had a daughter named Catherine who married a local farmer, or a local farmer's son. I'm sorry. A couple years into the marriage, Rose found that her daughter was being molested by her father-in-law. His name is John DeBoats,
Okay.
but I guess he was a bigwig
Yeah.
back then. Rose found out about this and grabbed a knife, walked across town to this dude's house, and stabbed him until he stabbed him.
Oh, this is in the Wayne County.
This is in the county. Yeah, this is in this actually in the town that the prison is in.
Okay.
But she stabbed him until he stopped breathing, until he was straight up dead. She was convicted of murder, obviously. She served 13 years in Auburn prison, but she was held in the Wayne County jail, then sent to Auburn prison. The knife that she used to kill the guy is on display in the museum. So
we had the knife on display that killed the guy.
Yeah.
And then we had the chairs made from the wood of the gallows.
Yep.
That is still in the museum.
A couple other artifacts that were of note was can't remember his name. He's a big time train robber up in the Finger Lakes area, and he was held in Wayne County Prison. The gun he used for his robberies is there.
Wow.
There's another. They called it a burglary kit from another gang. Again, I can't remember the name. That's held there. So they have a lot of artifacts that were directly linked to crimes, whether they were violent or not. But I would assume a revolver used in train robberies probably killed a few people.
Yeah.
You've got a knife that stabbed someone to death. So
it seems like we have the genesis or the ingredients for a potential haunting.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of information either on the investigations that have been done or conducted at this location. I could only find 2.
Yeah, it seems like it's a very, very untapped location.
Yeah, and also it's near, was there a canal in the area? Erie Canal? Because a lot of...
Yes, because actually some of the stuff I looked up, it tied into, if you're a canal enthusiast, so I know some part of it ran through there.
Same thing when we did the historic Palmyra, the general store, and the museum. It's a lot of workers that are coming and going, immigrants coming and going, and just a lot of energy, a lot of people, a lot of bodies, a lot of, unwinding. When they unwind, they'll go to the local bars, drink, get in fights.
Well, the other thing we have to look at, too, is not just what we know about. You got to think of this whole area, New York, Western New York, the North Country, all the bloodshed from the settlers and the Civil Wars and the Indians. I mean, that mixed with
King Philip's War and French and Indian War.
That energy and those violent deaths mixed with what we know, it's like a melting pot of what in the world are we going to find.
A lot of times it's believed in the paranormal community that any river source or flowing water source will somehow either increase energy or it somehow is a conductor for paranormal activity.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
The Finger Lakes and Erie Canal, all that stuff.
And then the other thing too is the weather says it's supposed to storm tonight.
Yeah.
So we might get some of that.
Might get lucky.
We might get some of that energy in the air from the lightning storms.
Yeah. So our investigation tonight is 6 p.m. to midnight. Typically we try to do lockdowns overnight, but with short notice having to reschedule.
Yeah.
And we did reschedule Wildwood. It was just a scheduling conflict due to coronavirus. And that one we're actually going to do in October, which is going to be pretty cool. October 17th. So we're going to have a fall investigation. So, yeah, and we also have Hillview Manor coming up July 11th, so 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, we got Bergen House on August 1st.
Yeah, and then Wilson Castle in Vermont on August 22nd.
Yeah.
Another untapped resource that I've reached out to a couple people that I know have been there. And I asked them, hey, I know this location is offering tours. Some people are saying it's just a haunted house attraction. It's not really haunted. What do you feel? And he's like, you got to go there, check it out.
Yeah. And it's massive. That castle is so huge.
Yeah. And we have Greystone Manor September 19th, which is another haunted bed and breakfast, which is going to be an overnight investigation. So we have a lot of good material coming up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it's Paranormal of Watertown. We have our investigations up for all 2019. We have the Paddock Mansion, we have Luray Mansion, we have Historic Palmyra, we have the Conjuring House, we have the Hinsdale House. We have a lot of good. We have Rolling Hills Asylum on there, Burnbrae Mansion, which we just did earlier this year, which another untapped.
Yeah, and I would love to go back to that place.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, so we got a lot of great material coming up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We do have a Facebook page.
Yep, look up Paranormal of Watertown on Facebook. Just click join and you can be kept up to date on everything we do. We also like to interact, throw little goofy posts on there as well.
Also some live feeds.
Yeah.
We could do live feeds via Facebook.
Definitely.
We could start doing them through YouTube. We got to get 1,000 subscribers. We're about 125 away. So
tell your friends.
Yeah, so we will be investigating 6 p.m. tonight and hopefully doing a live stream. I'm not sure. Some locations have policies against live streaming.
We'll see. We can ask them.
Yeah, so we'll check it out. So be sure to hit us up. Front of the building.
Oh, okay, 1962. I was off by 2 years. 62 is when they converted it into the museum.
Big Ed Kelly.
Yeah, oh, that's the Ed Kelly gang. Their burglary kit is in here. Yes, executed in the north side cell block, so there's 2 at least.
Train robber. We are just waiting on Justin and Alyssa. It's going to be us 4 today. Brad, myself, Derek, and Justin and Alyssa. Small group today for this kind of impromptu investigation. Phase 4 officially started here, so we are all on the up and up.
So obviously the site is the site that William was hung in, because you've read about that.
Yep.
And the ceiling was poured later in the 1930s, 30s or 40s, because at that point they had gotten to the point where they had more women prisoners. So they wanted to find some way to separate them from the men, so that's why they did the ceiling. I don't know why they decided to do it on this side, maybe because it was the side that William was hung on.
Maybe.
So, kind of erase that.
What was the question you asked?
Do you guys have a lot of investigators come, or?
Fairly often.
Yeah?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Yeah. So, there is, you'll see what the top view looks like.
And all this is original artwork from whoever stayed here. This is not fabricated.
Cells over here that you can walk in and sit if you like. Again, we do a lot of different things in the jail, and also just walk through a cover. That's my cool deal. You're welcome to walk in and hold. This is the only room, to tell you the truth, I really don't like. This was the library on the other side. They turned this. That was what. That was before they turned it into the library. It was just another washroom for the north cell block, which was, these were, I think they were added on, oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember the date right now. My mind is kind of a blank, but I just don't like this. I don't like this room.
A little bit of a creepy vibe in here.
That's the only place in the whole jail I ever know.
And who's going in here tonight?
Lock me in.
So we're not sure what we're going to do yet. If we're going to split up 1 by 1 or groups of 2. Oh yeah.
Feed the beer.
Yeah, and we've all got flashlights too.
And night vision. That's the best part.
Night vision right now.
We're at 0 baseline up here too.
Oh, so you've been running baseline through?
Yeah.
Okay. And this would be cool. This would be kind of, especially by yourself when it's dark.
Yeah.
Shoemaking was obvious. Yeah, well, we got our first ghost pun in for the day. It doesn't matter.
Where are you gonna get straws?
How about youngest to oldest?
Jesus Christ, I'm
Yes.
gonna go last.
So we are drawing. We have four different locations in there. We have
We
the
have
carriage house outside.
Carriage house, the north cell block, the south cell block, and the basement.
Okay, so
North is one, right?
This
South
is-
is two.
yeah, I labeled that one, that two.
Oh, cell block 1.
Yep, so that's cell
Yeah.
one
Okay.
over there. So brief backstory: the carriage house is said to have a heavy presence upstairs that a psychic medium would not go up.
She was scared shitless.
So that's the carriage house. All right. So then cell block 1 is where the hanging took place. Then cell
William
block
Fee.
2 was just a creepy back bathroom
Here's
area.
the thing, though. We don't know where the dude, which cell block the dude committed suicide.
That might have been the back one.
It might have
And
been.
that's the one where there's a heavy feeling in the back that the director here does not like that room. She just hightailed it out like once we were doing our walk.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
but I would have.
Dressing your wound in,
Yeah.
in a shower bathroom.
And then
Oh,
the
he
third
did it himself.
location, or
He
I'm
did
sorry,
it.
the fourth location was downstairs in the basement, where in each video that we've watched in previous investigations, a guy went down and said, nope, went
Yeah.
right back up.
I remember that.
So those are our 4 locations that we're each going to separate to and start our investigation.
We gotta read them all at once though to each other. We can't open it.
Okay.
Edit.
Wait, how old are you?
35, I think.
Wait.
Don't open
I
it.
don't like the feel of this one.
Don't open it. Brad, you're still shuffling for your one, dude.
All right.
Alright, we're reading them to each other.
3.
Fuck! Carriage house!
I want this one.
What one did you want? Cell 1, that's not even bad.
Oh, we got
one.
that one.
I got cell block 2.
I got basement.
Alright, Brad, if I press the button,
Yep.
let's
press
do a
the-
demonstration. Okay, no one else can push this.
There are no panic buttons.
That
I'm
is
going
the.
to cell block 1 if you
That
got
is
that
the
cell.
come and find me because I'm being murdered by a ghost.
Okay. I am heading down in the basement. All right. Jess, you still got a little bit of light in there.
All right, we are going to cell block 2.
All right, and I'm heading towards the basement. Okay, we're heading back down into the basement. Outside. There's something in like that corner. What if I lay down on your bunk? What was that? Was your dad the sheriff here? Holy shit.